Yes, welcome back to Dyl Friends. This week on the podcast, we have an amazing young man by the name of Harry Sheezel, the North Melbourne Kangaroo absolute star, and we do not use that lightly. This kid is going places, but you didn't need me to tell you that. But this episode is genuinely fascinating with what this young man has done, and we will have a little bit of a chat about it in a minute with my good friend Darcy. But before we do, I want to give full credit to the team at Dove Men+Care for showing care as sponsors of this podcast. We appreciate your love, your support, and having these conversations as well is absolutely incredible. Our values are so aligned on this, and we love what this is all about, really. Chatting to old friends, catching up, giving full credit to someone that has helped us, and also talking about how we live our best lives, which is really, really, really cool. And I know we've had a lot of awesome feedback on this little series as well, so very, very happy with that. So big thank you to Dove Men+Care again. And as we mentioned, the Dove Men+Care hotline is open. Head to the link in the show notes and share your full credit to the boys' story for your chance to win 5K thanks to Dove Men+Care. Darcy, how are you?
I'm good, Dyl. It's been good. I've been sifting through all these entries.
You're a sifter.
Mate, I love sifting.
You know when you get a sift and you just put sand in it, you sift through it?
Yep.
That's you.
I know. I've been doing a lot of it.
It also reminds me, because you know I'm from Ballarat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I was born in Ballarat.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
And
country boy.
In Ballarat, it was the gold rush.
Yep.
As you know, so Sovereign Hill is there.
Yep.
You ever go there as a kid?
No.
Okay, well, this maybe won't make any sense to you then, but maybe out there who was listening, what you used to do when you pan for gold is you go to the river, you pick up some water and some stones, whatnot, that are in the creek, and as you'd go, you'd pan, slowly let some more out, you'd sift through, and guess what you'd find?
Bit of gold?
Gold nuggets.
Gold
and
nuggets.
Guess what we found today?
A gold nugget.
You like that?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry, I thought you were saying play the audio.
Yeah. But let's cue the audio. I'm very keen to see who has won the Dove Men+Care hotline this week, and let's see who do. Before we get into Harry Sheezel, that is, we're very close to getting into that episode, guys. If you do want to sift forward, you can, but also I think you should stay because we're about to give away $5,000.
Yep. So this week's winner, again, lots and lots of entries, and Dyl, I encourage you to go and sift through them because you would love a lot of these.
Oh, I will be, but you told me that I can't.
Yeah, well, I like to surprise you on the pod.
Thank you.
This week's winner is Joshua Osborne, who's giving full credit to his mate Michael.
Not related to the Osbornes from the singer?
Who's that?
Michael Osborne, is it? No, he played for Hawthorn.
They could be related.
What's the Osborne I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
The one Aussie ripped the bat's head off.
Oh, yeah, Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy Let's move on.
I don't know if they're related, but let's have a listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, g'day boys. It's Josh here. I just wanted to give a shout out to an absolutely beautiful mate of mine called Michael Conway. Yeah, mate, this legend, he lost his brother about a year and a half ago to the black dog. And yeah, he obviously been through some tough times with that, but he's the best advocate for men's mental health that I know, and depression as well in that. About a year ago, I was struggling, suffering pretty bad from the black dog, and yeah, I opened up to him, obviously, knowing what he'd been through, and mate, he was quick to act. He was first person to coach me through it, talk me through it, help me, and most importantly, point me into the right direction of someone that I could speak to, some resources that can help. Yeah, mate, without Michael, I don't know how I'd be going or if I'd be going now. So mate, he's almost saved me life, basically. Shout out to him. I love him, and I just couldn't thank him enough. So if I was to be lucky enough to win this, obviously I'd be giving him a bid and helping him out to say thank you. And I absolutely love him. And full credit to you, team, for being advocates for men's mental health as well. Just need people to know that there is light and there is help out there. So thanks for everything you guys do as well.
Beautiful message.
Pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. Similar thing to last week. Came in
nice and high.
nice and high, and not that hasn't lulled me at all. But
You want to come in with energy.
No, we've come in with energy, but I think you know what? Getting the energy back up.
Here we go.
Because what that does, that beautiful message from Josh Osborne to his good friend Michael does, is it shows, yes, there is this very serious part of what mental health is about. There's also some really positive things about mental health as well. And I think through this series and through these relationships and through these giving full credit to our friends and family members and people that have shown us support, again, just keeps highlighting a few things to me, does. We all go through some shit times.
We do.
We all have challenging moments, and it's all about who we can surround ourselves with and, you know, giving the best thing for ourselves in self-care to ensuring that we can stay in the best place possible. But unfortunately, we have ups and downs. It's a part of life, and it's the only thing that we consistently all go through together. So if you can take somewhat of comfort out that, there's something sort of beautiful in it, in a way.
Absolutely. Two things I liked about that.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
One that he said he would, you know, share his winnings with Michael,
great.
treat him, get around him. Which
I wonder what they'll do.
I hope they tell us. I hope they
really
do.
Please do.
Please do. Second thing I liked about it, you could hear the tractor in the background.
Yeah, he was doing something, wasn't he?
He was doing something.
I wonder where he was.
I don't know.
I want to know. We don't have the answers to this. And as I said, Darcy's been sifting through this like he's at Sovereign Hill, trying to find that gold, and we found it today. And I want to keep saying this as well, Darcy, because I know you've said this to me, how hard this job is, and I don't want to underestimate how hard it is. And I know it's not just you, it's a team at Dove as well that are helping support and find the worthy winners for this. And there will be a scale of winners. You know, it's obviously that's an incredible story there of something that's beautiful. You know, weeks prior I've had some really awesome stuff as well, but it can be a variety of stuff, okay? Support doesn't have to be the most serious. It can be from little things, big things, small things. So please keep sending in your full credit to the boys to our Dove Men+Care hotline, and it's now open. As I said, the link is in the show notes.
It's worth doing. $5,000 up for grabs.
Yeah, we still got another 4 weeks.
Yes, we
do. So still another $20,000 to be giving away. And as I said, those entries still count. That have been in there, so you can get back in, get it done. But I hope that, you know, this is going to everyone out there who's a worthy winner. Very, very exciting. Now, Darcy, moving on, Harry Sheezel this week. I can't hold this much longer, but we recorded this the other night. We're doing this the other way now.
Yep.
This is absolutely fascinating. I literally learnt more about life than I knew myself from a 19-year-old.
I can't believe he's 19.
Oh, mate, it's crazy.
You know what I loved about this episode? Sam Bonza. I haven't seen him in the studio in all year.
No.
And he sat in this one, and you could hear him breathing heavily.
So,
big North fan, obviously.
He's a big North fan, and I didn't say this to him after it because it was too weird to even make it like the connection. But you hear after he had this moment, and I was like...
Oh, as he was leaving?
Yeah.
Oh.
There was a few bits where I'm like, Sam, please just don't do it. Like, he loves North, and he loves Harry Sheezel. And I was like, man, just relax. Like, you're digging yourself in here. Yeah. I think like straight after the podcast, he goes, so one thing I need to know, who are we going to draft this year? And I'm like, oh, Sam.
How about when poor Harry's, you know, doing his best to get out of here. He's walking down the stairs, so he's already said goodbye. See you, boys. He's going down the stairs, and Sam goes, oh, and Harry, if you don't get that blazer this year, I'll be sending an email.
Oh, I know. Word for word, that's actually what he said. I left that out of my head because I was like, I don't want to ever remember that again.
Sam, you can't do that.
This is like, you reckon at SEN and Triple M they do that? There's a level of professionalism here that we need to uphold. Anyway, incredible person, incredible. Harry is genuinely a good person, and I don't say this lightly, but I'm sort of somewhat excited, but also scared to see what this guy gets up to over the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, the rest of his life, really.
Seriously impressive operator.
And lastly, before we get into it, the self-care he shows himself and to get to where he is seriously impressive. So listen to this today. There's messages everywhere about love, support, all that sort of stuff. Love you, Harry. Go North. Go Kangas. Let's go. Good on you, Harry. And thank you again to our incredible friends at Dove Men+Care. Harry, how are you, my friend?
Good, thanks, Dyl. How are you?
Mate, good. You're a young, handsome man, aren't you? 19 years old.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Not fascinating for me. I'm just, trying to be a normal 19-year-old.
It probably wasn't like the word I was looking for, but 19, it's like we're quite old here now, but geez, there's a spring of youth, and it's the whole world ahead of you, and you've already done so much, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully got a lot to look forward to as well, and got a lot ahead of me. But yeah, definitely enjoying myself at the moment.
Mate, it's been a crazy, probably 24 months in your life. From the last time we spoke, it was just after the draft. You'd just been picked up. We had we had Ollie Hollands in here. We had Elijah Sardis in here. Do you remember the round table discussion with the boys? And with that all ahead of you of what was about to come?
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember talking about like pre-season and like little things that we're picking up compared to like under 18 footy. And yeah, the last 24 months has like happened so quickly, and you haven't really had much time to reflect. Like you're just caught up in the next thing all the time. And at the end of the season, I'll probably try and look back and reflect, and it's a bit of a pinch myself type thing.
It really is. And like normally on these pods, we've got guys on the show that are, a lot older. They might be in the middle of their career or might even be retired, and we're asking them to reflect. And I know that you're in the midst of an incredible career that's just started, like 2 years in. So we're not asking to go back and reflect on anything. It's only what you know today. But it has been crazy. Like you think about the fact that you've come into, from that last time we spoken, you won the BNF in your first season, and then have been really, I don't want to say fortunate because you've actually done it yourself, like you've earned those spots, so then back it up again in year 2. We asked this question a fair bit, I suppose in the media in general, but like this whole notion of like second year blues that come into a season. Was that something maybe after the BNF that did you ever think about that going, I want to be able to back up my first season in the AFL?
Yeah, 100%. And that was the main thing that I was focusing on all pre-season, was just about doing everything that I can to make sure that I can have a good year and back it up. Because, like your first year, you kind of get a free pass. Like I was playing a pretty free type of role, and you get looked after a little bit. But then the second year, like you have a full pre-season, your body's ready to go. You know the game plan, you're ready, and you're adapted to the AFL lifestyle. So you kind of have that expectation, the pressure, to back it up and then go to a new level, and you're held to higher standards. And fortunate enough, I was voted into the leadership group over the pre-season, so that's been another step up for me that I've had to grow into. And as a leader, you have to, I guess, show all that examples and the behaviours that you want to teach the whole group, and doing that as a second-year player can be tough, but I think that's really helped me, I guess, raise to those standards and back it up. And I've been pretty fortunate with the people around me to help me stay level and keep working.
It's incredible, mate. It's a credit to yourself and your family and the football club of how you've been able to do that. But again, we talk about giving full credit to someone, and we'll talk about that later, but you've got to give a lot of full credit to you and what you've been able to do, because at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you do these things. You can have good people around you and supporting you, but unless you sort of do that, it's not going to happen. I want to touch on the leadership group stuff, which is incredible. My mind's going everywhere because I just want to break this down for the audience here, because sometimes you can listen and not like actually pay attention to what's happening. Second year into the leadership group, I've never seen that happen before. I don't think in my time.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
Like you're 19 and you're not that, leadership has no level. Like it's, you can lead at any time in your career and in your life, but it's just crazy. It's not crazy, but it is fascinating. I'll use that word that I used earlier, that a 19-year-old has obviously shown those levels already enough to be respected enough by older teammates that you can be in that role.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to think of it like that. But to be honest, I think that's where we're at the moment as a club and as the group. Like, we are all so connected and so close, and we do have such a young group that me being a part of the leadership group is really helping us connect, I guess. Because we have, I think it's like nearly 50% of our groups in our first to 4 years. So to have someone in the leadership group that's a part of that to connect the two is really important for us. And I've got a lot of good role models in that space, and they really helped me over the off season in my leadership. And once I spoke to a few of the boys and like kind of worked out that that's something I want to go for, that really helped me. And I don't think age is a factor at all in that space.
100%, you're proving it isn't. What, I suppose, two parts here, okay? Because this is what I wish I knew when I was 18 years old, and maybe people out there that are listening to this now, they're relate it back to yourself. Doesn't have to be in sport, doesn't have to be in anything. Like if you're someone who wants to be a good leader in your community, in your workplace, in a sports team, whatever it is, and they are maybe at a age they think is a barrier, what would you say do you think has got you to that position to be respected, to become a leader? What do you think is important as a leader these days?
Well, first and foremost, it's emulating the standards and the behaviours that you want to, I guess, everyone to live to. So I think that's the main thing. It's I didn't really change anything. I just was myself, and fortunately others liked that about me. So I came into the club, I just tried to just be myself, make good relationships first and foremost, but then just work hard, stick to the process of knowing that what I do each day will help me become the best footballer and the best teammate and the best, I guess, learner of the game. So yeah, I'm just really invested in preparation, working hard off the field, nutrition, recovery, all of that, but then also like knowing the game plan. But yeah, to relate it back to, I guess, everyday life and like those barriers, it's just if being a good person, creating those relationships, being really, I guess, authentic, honest and vulnerable, and then just always learning and just knowing that you're never perfect and always open to new ideas.
It's unbelievable, mate. That's so cool. I know Sam's a big North supporter in the corner. He's getting very excited by that, as am I. Genuinely, really, really cool to hear those things, and what a great role model for young people out there. Any people, in fact. You were saying before about vulnerability, making mistakes.
Yep.
Things happen. Even you make mistakes, is that right? Sometimes.
Sure.
Not on the footy field, maybe, but in life, you make mistakes every now and then?
Yeah, every day.
That's good. Chom, good friend of ours.
Yep.
Of the show. He was saying that the week that you got put into the leadership group,
yeah,
you did a great speech about standards. Very good of what probably emulated what you just spoke about.
I know where you're going with this.
And then maybe some vulnerability and some authenticity did shine through a couple of weeks later when something else happened.
Yeah. I didn't make a standard speech. I didn't do that, but yeah, my standards did fall a couple of weeks later. I had a bit of a sleep in, missed my alarm and came late to a training session in the off season.
And that happens.
Yeah. Fortunately, Clarko and all the boys were very good about it. And yeah, I just trained off at the side of the group.
So it's funny because you get two sides to every story, right? Mick Barlow said it was like the most honest mistake ever. One thing, like not even done wrong, but it was just like classic, just mistake. Yeah. And it's swept under the rug. It's not swept under the rug. It's just acknowledged and we move on.
Yeah.
Whereas Chom had said the week prior, you're making this, for the last 3 days, you're saying, don't be late. And then the next day you were late.
Yeah, no, Chom's just doing that for the story.
He's a good storyteller, isn't he?
Yeah, Mick was right.
That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Mate, this year, how would you see the progression, I suppose, of your team itself and the football club? And I say this to Mick a little bit too when we're chatting on Footy and Friends about North Melbourne. And, I think the AFL community's been quite harsh on North Melbourne, but obviously for a reason too. They want to see clubs going well and they haven't been performing the way they wanted to for a long time. And sometimes I think in footy and even in life, like you can try and make a perception of yourself, but really other people decide the perception of you because they're watching it.
Yeah.
And to me, it looks like North Melbourne has gone from a place where you couldn't pay a person to come to this season. I can't wait to see what happens and who wants to go there. Like it really looks like a destination club and people are looking, having fun and what it can actually turn into.
Yeah, well, that's all I know, to be honest. I think even last year that was the case. I walked into the club. There was a lot of change that happened. Clarko came in, brought a lot of staff across, and there was a bit of list turnover as well. A few players left, and I think it was just kind of like a rebirth of the club. All the boys said that the whole culture just shifted. They'd gone through some tough times, obviously, the years prior, and it was almost like a reset. And that first year, last year, it's tough. Like you have to adjust. You have an adjusting period. We were learning a new game plan, new players, just adjusting to that. And then I think this year we had a really good pre-season and off-season, like an incredible, incredible off-season. Like boys came back so fit, so strong. Like it was incredible. Clarko and Todd Viney were saying like they haven't seen such a good pre-season not translate into a successful year. Which is a little disappointing in a sense because we were kind of expecting the first half of the year to really come on and maybe do what we've been doing the last, I guess, 6 or 7 weeks. And that's like take it up with the big teams, win some games. And it was pretty frustrating the first half of the year, but we knew that if we just stuck at it because of the culture and because of all the positivity around the club that it would change eventually. And if we stuck to the process that it was going to come, which fortunately it has a bit. We're still not there, but yeah, the vibes at the club are incredible. They always have been, and I think we're definitely on the right track.
How do you keep positive in in such a scrutinised sport now. You look at like I hate generalising the media, and I suppose it's supporters, it's everyone gets frustrated with progress stops, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But it's a young team. Like obviously you guys know where it can get to, but you're more disappointed than anyone when it doesn't go that way.
Yeah.
But how do you like keep patient with that? Is someone really good at keeping level of that like equilibrium, not too high, not too low?
Yeah. No, for sure. That's actually something I really noticed in the leadership group, like being part of those leadership meetings, which is kind of like the first thing you do after a game. Seeing like the messaging around it, like I'll come in, I'm not used to the leadership meetings. I'll come into a leadership meeting like thinking like, oh, what are they going to say today? Like, are they going to be really disappointed? And I think I've learned now that it's just like nothing really changes week to week. It's like you stick to the process, you review the game in certain aspects. There's a few things that are wrong, but you're always on the same path and you always know that the process that you're on is the right one. And that's what having like strong leaders of our club now that know the process and know the right way about it, that nothing really changes. And like, it's not, if we have a bad game, they're not like making all these massive changes or thinking that, we're really, really struggling. Like it's just back to the process. What can we control? Like there's a few things here and there that we can change and alter, but I guess the process doesn't really change, and I don't know how to say it, but
stick to the
fundamentals.
Yeah. It's an incredible point. It's something that it took me probably myself, 30 years to work out.
Yeah.
Like, don't panic. I think panicking is, it's such a good song by Coldplay actually, but I think just in general, it's weird. It came to my head. I was listening to it yesterday. Yeah. But I think in general, it's such a good analogy to live by, because 100%. The more you make those like rash decisions, emotional decisions, heat of the moment decisions, like you need to like just stick to one process and let it going. And even in my life, we were chatting about this the other day, like Darcy and I sit down for production meetings and we go, oh, we had a really good listen this week. It's like, oh, let's do that again. It's like, no, just do what we've been doing. Yeah. Some weeks are going to be good. Some weeks are going to be 100%. Bad. It's really hard to, know that, but over a test of time, like don't look at it a 4-week period, look at it over 12 months or whatever it is. But I feel like the best teams do that really well, and it's cool to hear that North Melbourne are starting to do that, especially with their leaders, because when I was at a club that was probably struggling as well, it was very like it was very movement over certain things. Like each week things just change, and then you panic and you're not playing your own game plan, and it just goes. Yeah, and then it just compounds and everything. So that's what we're really focusing on now, is just getting that stability week to week, year to year, and hopefully we'll have that sustained success. Do you have any like leadership coaches or anything like that that work at the club? Is there anyone that externally works with you guys? Yeah, we have from leading teams. So you do leading teams? Yeah. Who's the... Ray McLean. Ray McLean? Yeah. Ray's a Ray. Yeah, the GOAT. How's he going, Ray? Good? Yeah, he's going well. He's been good for us, just working out that trademark and holding us to those standards. So is that, you might not know this, but is that like a Clarko thing, or is that brought in through other people as well? Because obviously, like, we talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people have worked with leading teams throughout the AFL. Yeah. Is that, I wonder if he he's done a lot of work with Clarko. Yeah. Maybe Clarko brought him across, Yeah, cool. We can't be not asking about Mick Barlow as well. Do you do a bit with Mick, or is he? I do. You're sort of out of that development now. Like you're in a weird position of being a leader, but also in your second year. No, I'm still in like the academy. So is that sort of weird going from like an academy meeting to a leadership meeting? It is a little bit weird, but like I said before, I think it's really important for the group to have that leader in the leadership group that connects the 1st to 4 year players, like I was saying, but. Yeah, I've got a fair bit to do with Mick actually. We get along pretty well. Do a lot of like touch and craft sessions with him and Tom Powell as well. We get a good little crew down. Someone was saying recently that they walked in on Mick in the saunas with a few of the boys before a Darwin game. Yeah, that was me. Me and Powell. Yeah, was that you? And you had to just slippering the balls up to get sort of nice and ready into it. Yeah, so got in the steam room, got the buckets in, and it was a good session, but it didn't really translate. It's unbelievable. He comes up with some pretty good ideas, Nick. I'll give it to him. Like we do our touch sessions like probably twice a week, just at the end of the day, and he's actually come up with a lot of good stuff. He's a very good coach. Yeah. How do you think? And we love Mick more than anyone. Believe me, I really believe in him. I think his mind in footy like it's so wasted on our podcast because we don't even let him talk about it. But it's really embarrassing because like I know we've got a senior coach in the making on this show, and I think people in the next 3-4 years will look back and go, why the fuck was that guy doing that podcast? Yeah. But he's obviously a great character too. Yeah. And I hope he doesn't listen to that because I want him to stay forever. But what do you think his transition will be like? Do you think he could be a senior coach?
I think so. I think what I love about coaches is what I really love about a coach is the relationships that they build, and Mick's great at that. Like, he connects really well with certain players. I think he knows how to connect with players in certain ways as well. So like me, I think we're building a pretty strong relationship, and you can just tell that down the track, if he was to be a senior coach, he'd be great at that, but then also has an unbelievable footy brain.
Great footy brain. I think what's really cool about Mick, for a minute, if we talk about him, I don't want to pump him up too much, but obviously has been at the best top of his game in the AFL.
Yeah.
Like, I only realised the other day he did won 3 of those Glendenning medals in the Derby medals. He's won 3 best ons. He let us know.
Yeah, he knows a lot about his own stats.
He does. It's quite weird. And then has also, faced a lot of injuries, and then also been on the other end of football where he's been sort of on the back end too, and let go. So he's had that great university of like knowing where players are at all moments.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's why he's great for our group as well. We are a young group. He obviously wasn't at a club when he was young, but he's, like you said, experienced all sides of football. He's been great this year.
That's great. Well, moving on from him, it's not his show.
Yeah, he'll love that.
BNF after the first season, before we talk a bit more about this year, that's incredible, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How was that night? How was the experience? What sort of happens after? I probably should have done the research on this, but has that ever happened at BNF in the first year? I don't think it has.
I think it has before, but I'm not too sure. It was pretty crazy. I didn't expect to win it, to be honest. Like, people say like, oh yeah, sure, but I really didn't. I thought Nick Larkey had an unbelievable. He was All-Australian, kicked 70-something goals last year, so I wasn't really expecting it going into the night. Was just going to have some fun, and kind of got a bit nervous when Suv got read out for second BNF, and then I had to realise I had to maybe get up and say a speech and accept it. But yeah, it was crazy. Very fortunate to have won that.
So cool, man. And very excited for this year too, to see what happens there. Speaking of some teammates at the moment, you just mentioned Wardlaw, LDU, Larkey, the Bulls has signed on again.
Yeah.
Tom Powell, who is having a really good season. Who else am I missing, Sam? McKercher's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
Yeah,
He's very good. It's a pretty exciting sort of mould of young men that are in that bracket of playing some good footy together.
100%, yeah.
Who excites you? Who's one that maybe out of those guys, who's one that you really love and why?
Yeah.
And then maybe one out of that, who's one that you think can sort of move their way in the coming years?
Yeah. Well, the thing with that is, like, you probably have forgotten a few. That's what's so exciting, is we have so many coming through, and such a exciting group that is going to be pretty scary in a few years' time, I reckon. It's hard to pick one. Tom Powell does, I guess, not get spoken about like the others do, and he's a really good player. I love playing with Powell. He does a lot of the stuff that you don't really see or value externally, and he's a great player. Like, so composed with the ball, works so hard at his craft and in the gym. But all those guys are freaks.
With Wardlaw having him back, interrupted first season, but then coming back in now, contested bull. Yeah, we like to call him a wounded bull. He's doing some great things. Yeah. What about playing with him? Because you said, I think in the last episode, you said he was the best player you'd ever played against, like prior to the AFL. Yeah,
I was going to say George then, but like I've pumped him up a lot. Yeah, he's always the one I go to because I like say like, oh, everyone's going to see how good this guy is, which I think they've started to see now. Yeah, I think I played against him since I was under 11s, and he was doing what. He was doing that since under 11, just a contested beast, can't tackle him. Just crazy animal. Like, just.
Is he a chance for the rising star this year? With it's out of him and Dempsey.
Yeah,
he didn't.
Well, he's been concussed a bit, George, now the last couple of weeks, which I think might not work in his favour, but hopefully he can come back and have a few good games to finish the year.
That'd be good. As you said, around some players as well, like having Fish. He's been a little bit injured this year coming through. And Chom, I didn't have Chom in that. Wait, is Chom? He's like 30 though, isn't he? Chom, how old?
Just turned 23. I think
that's impressive.
Yeah.
Is it true he's sort of been comparing himself to like a Wayne Carey type? Sort of? Is that true?
No, but yes. It's a weird one with Chom. Like,
does he love his He loves his podcast.
He loves his podcast.
Yeah, he's getting noticed and stuff around the streets.
Yeah. I was actually on it last week, I think.
You were on it?
Yeah, they gave me a call, which was nice.
Very good, man. Hey, Dove Men+Care is all about taking care of ourselves, obviously, and something that I'm really not doing too well at the moment in terms of just consistency, a lot of work. I've become a father as well. I've got a 15-month-old boy. Not making excuses, but the nutrition and recovery side of my life is not prominent at the moment. It needs to be a lot better than it is. But I'm doing a lot of work on my mental side, which is you can't do everything. It's actually a good point. You can't do everything sometimes. But in saying that, what do you think you do when you're at your best self? Like how are you looking after yourself both physically and mentally to get to the best Harry Sheezel possible?
Well, you touched on you haven't been consistent with it. I think that's the main one for me. I don't really, like, when I'm at my best, when I'm at my worst, I just try and keep it consistent the whole time. I have a little motto that I live by. It's kind of like consistency equals confidence. So I kind of pride myself on doing everything I can during the week from nutrition perspective, recovery, sleep, everything, and doing that week to week and creating a routine around that so that I know that if I am doing that, it'll equal performance and I have the confidence to go out there and know that I've taken care of everything during the week. So yeah, I'm pretty strict with my nutrition. I've kind of tinkered with it a bit, spoken to a lot of dietitians and kind of worked out what's best for me and my body type and performance. I'm all around the performance side of dietitian and fueling myself for that. So yeah, I love that space and recovery. I do all the recovery methods as often as possible. And like you said, the mental side, mental space, I've really, I think, grown in that this year and over the off season. I started reading a lot of books and just focusing on breath work and a bit more meditation and stuff. And that's really helped me as well.
Oh my God, so much to unpack there. I want to talk about all of those things.
Yeah.
Let's start with, maybe talk us through your, what did you say? Consistency equals
confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Clip that. I'm going to set that as my screensaver. That is, that's a really, there's actually an NBA player that does a really good, have you seen the, I'm going to send it to you after, and have you seen it? The NBA player says consistency, my life is consistent. Yeah.
So, funny story. Jackson Archer, he talks about that clip a lot with me, and because he says that he sees like the way I go about it, and he was like, he called me SGA related to that press conference.
So cool.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That is very funny. That's elite. For those out there who haven't seen it, I will we'll add it into the show notes. A very cool clip, very motivating. But yours was a lot more fluent. Let's talk about the routine stuff that would then add in the mindset and the nutrition, how it works. So talk us through like a week. What does it look like that you're sort of doing at the club and maybe outside the club to get to your best?
So this year I've kind of really honed in on my routine and really mapped out what it looks like. So post game, after a game I just switch off. That's actually something that I've really focused on from the mental side of things. So last year I think I kind of struggled at times. Like I'd have some good games, but then my bad games I'd really struggle with, and like after a game I'd be so down. Wouldn't be, I guess,
on
good.
Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be good to be around. The next day even, I'm still just thinking about the game. My mood was so dictated to by how I played. And so a big focus this year was going to each game was, no matter what happens, how can I be the best version of me after post game? And something that Nick Larkey actually helped me with this as well. He does it. It's finding something that you love to do. And I kind of took that and made sure I did that the day after a game or the night of a game, depending on when we played. So that really just helped me forget about the game, no matter what happens, good or bad, to just really focus on
what is that for you?
The things I love. So yeah, it's spending time with family. So it's going out for dinner. So I'll try book a dinner in or a breakfast the next morning, go to the beach with my mates, even try and see the North boys, go do recovery with them. Or it's like go shopping. It's cook dinner myself and just little things that I just love. The main thing is just about being with people and relationships, because they really help me, I guess, switch off, and I really focus on just giving my all to them in that space and in that moment, rather than just focusing on the game and talking about the game the whole time. So that's really helped me this year post game, and then just during a week, like I always make sure I'm trying to have a sauna 4 times a week at night.
Is that at the club, or do you have one at home?
I have one at home, which really helps. Have a sauna.
And sorry, just with the sauna, what do you feel from that? Like, is it just to relax you, sleep well? Like, what's your
I do it late at night, infrared.
Yeah.
That relaxes me, I feel, before bed. I usually do it in between dinner and then when I eat something before I go to bed. So helps me switch off and really relax.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, I've been loving that. Do an ice bath twice a week. I don't try and do that too much. Do it in the morning to try and get me going rather than recover from something. And yeah, I just love like reading every now and then. And yeah, I'm just always learning about that stuff.
That's so impressive. What have you read this year that you've enjoyed?
This book called Head and Heart. It's all about leadership. That one's really good. Another one called Grit by Angela Duckworth. That's a really good one.
Yep.
That's probably my favourite one, Grit.
That was, we were chatting off air before, but that was the book that Andrew Russell actually spoke about a lot on the first podcast we did a long time ago. He reckons that book is fantastic.
No, I loved it.
Yeah.
It's so good, and I like write my notes about some books and highlight them. There are a few boys at the club that actually read, so yeah, we got a good little culture going.
I read, there's a podcast, a book that's actually been transcribed by Tim Ferriss. Das, I might need to look it up because it's sort of got a hard name. Do you know what I'm talking about? Tim Ferriss book, and he wrote it on another guy's, all the transcribed stuff that this guy's done for like his,
Is it Naval?
yeah, Naval, Ravikant, yeah.
It's the Almanack.
The Almanack of Raval Ravikant, is that it? Something like that. Yeah. Anyway, you'll really enjoy it. It's hard. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. The point being around that book
Yeah.
is it's everything that you've mentioned in it that you would absolutely
really.
love. And what he says about reading, which has actually changed my mindset on it, and maybe anyone else out there, because sometimes I'll start a book and you know how you like start it, you get halfway through, you go, that's fantastic, and then you sort of forget to read it.
Yeah.
And then you sort of, you lose the feeling of how good it was because you haven't finished the book and you're like, fuck, I didn't finish it.
So true.
But he says in this book he believes books aren't meant to be read front to back. Like a book is something that you can pick up, you can put down. You know, when he says, I've read a book, it doesn't mean he's read every page, but he's read the book. He's read a part of it. You can pick back up, you can skip chapters, you can pick other things too. So ever since I listened to that transcribed book of his, and that was told to me, I feel so much better now about like reading, because I'm like, I can start a book, I don't have to finish it, you can pick it back up another day as long as you've got it.
Kind of takes the stress away.
It takes the stress, because it gets stressful. You're like, fuck, I've got to finish it.
Yeah.
You're like, we actually don't.
And then you feel guilty when you're not like keep going with it. Yeah.
Sometimes you can just get one thing from it and you're like, cool, that served me for now, and I'll pick it back up later.
That's actually what I did with that Head and Heart book that I was talking about on the leadership. So it's like, it's about how you can lead with your head and lead with your heart, and it's like kind of split up into two. So I kind of stopped after the first half and struggled to pick up the second.
There's one more book that I'd recommend, and again, it's a bit of that analogy. I've read probably half of it because the only time I really get time to read now is if I go on a plane by myself.
Yeah.
Because if I'm with the family, it's very hard with a young man to read a book, because parents would know. But there's this book, and the boys might take offence to this, and I didn't buy it because of the title. I got recommended it. It's called Surrounded by Idiots, and it's like a leadership book, and it talks about 4 different types of personalities and how to connect with the 4 different people.
Yeah.
And it's really cool for like anyone in like a management position or in a leadership position of a footy club, because you actually end up learning, well, where do I sit in this and how do I want to be communicated to versus how do other people communicate as well.
I reckon that's so important.
Yeah, really interesting. So it's called Surrounded by Idiots. Make sure you check that one out. Very, very cool. Nutrition wise as well, like do you follow any type of stringent like model, or is it just sort of what you like to eat? Like do you?
Well, now I've kind of worked out what works best for me.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone through different stages. So I went earlier this year, and in the off season, I lost a lot of weight in the off season. I lost like 5 or 6 kilos, I think, half intentionally.
Intentionally, yeah.
Sort of, but didn't expect to lose that much. In America, when we were traveling, I lost a lot. But yeah, I was kind of like, I was eating this like whole foods diet, so it was like strictly whole foods, which I still do. But I went, I think, a bit too far, and like there was like very little carbs in there, so that's probably how I lost all my weight. So then, once it came back to footy, I wanted to put that weight back on. Then I started to reintroduce carbs. I probably went too much in terms of like the fueling for performance side of things, where I was probably I went away from like that whole foods diet, like eating clean, and so then I worked out the best combination of the two. So now I kind of I eat the whole foods diet, so everything's like
what
natural
is whole
food.
foods
So
diet?
it's like your proteins, like your fish, chicken, salmon. Fish, chicken, steak.
Yep.
So they're my proteins. Then I'll eat my carbs. So now I have rice and like sweet potatoes. I don't really go outside of that, and fruit.
And rice, I'm just very curious, is that just white rice or brown? Like, what do you
Just
do?
white rice,
White
yeah.
rice, yeah, because it's flipped now, hasn't it? Like,
It
now
has,
people are
yeah.
back on white rice over brown rice.
Yeah, white rice, more for that fuel. And
Yeah.
and I'm not sure about the sweet potato. I kind of flick between the two, but love my sweet potato. And
There's
so
a
it's
really interesting, sorry to jump, I want to come back to this, and people are going to hate it when I interrupt, and I hate it too. But sweet potato, have you seen another book you should read or series you should watch about it's called The Blue Zones, and it's like the 7 places in the world where people live the longest and are the healthiest. And there's this place in Japan, and a lot of their diet is like 70%, something like that, of sweet potato.
Yeah, wow.
That's all they eat.
I probably have it 5 times a week. I probably 5 dinners a week. Yeah.
Do you eat the purple one or the orange one?
Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people around me say my food's really boring because like it is no processed food, and really it's just simple. So like it would just be like your potato or your rice and then your meat and then your vegetables, and like just by itself, like just cooked in like nothing, just a bit of salt and pepper and maybe a little bit of olive oil. Like some people just don't get it, but I love it. Like,
So you actually enjoy the taste as well?
I enjoy it. I enjoy cooking it, and I've really found the enjoyment in that, and I couldn't really go away from that now. Like I just love it.
Our friend Brent, actually, I think you actually did a video for him, for Mick, the other day for his birthday.
Oh yeah.
So Brent's big dog at
Cobram Estate.
Estate. Yeah. So we'll get you sorted out with some good extra virgin.
Well,
olive
that's
oils.
the extra virgin olive oil I use. So
Mate, it's unbelievable, and they've got all the flavors as well. I know you don't like any flavor, but they've got some really good
I'll
stuff.
just go the basic.
We'll sort that out, mate. The basics good. Sam actually gets delivered in they've got this this First Harvest bottle that comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like very expensive bottle, and Sam gets them in and hands them out to all his mates. They're meant to be for everyone here.
Oh.
But yeah, it's great. So
Might have to get my hands on some.
you'll get one, don't stress. That's awesome. So okay. Whole foods diet, but with a bit of carbs.
Well, it's the carbs
That's
are still
still in
whole
it.
food, so
Okay.
it's just no processed stuff. So sports dietitians and football dietitians probably won't love that because they're like all about their quick carbs before a game.
It's so cool that like you are
So,
developing your own thing outside of what a dietitian is.
Sort of what works for me, and like before a game, instead of like I still have one energy gel. That's probably the only time I don't eat. That's the only processed thing I probably eat in a week is the energy gel. But yeah, instead of having like multiple or snakes or anything, I have a banana at halftime, dates as well. So yeah, I just try and keep it all natural.
Man.
Yeah,
It's so clean.
yeah. I feel like it just works for me, and I enjoy it. Like I don't have any want to eat outside of that anymore.
I can improve my. I actually don't eat terribly bad at home because my wife's actually a dietitian. She is she's not a dietitian anymore, but she studied dietetics and did a great job. So she cooks and she's unbelievable. So whenever I eat at home, I'm always eating clean. It's when I'm by myself and fall into those bad habits.
Yeah.
Lack of consistency, as you'd say, aren't there. But it's crazy when you do consistently eat well versus when you don't, how you feel. And I was watching this cooking show the other day, actually, because my new thing, talk about consistency, is every Sunday I make a meal. Yeah. So I go home, like this week I made a big stew. It was very good. I don't think that would be processed.
No, it wouldn't.
That'd be processed? No.
Well, it depends what's
organic,
in it.
Organic grass-fed beef.
Yeah.
Carrots, potatoes, onion, garlic, and then, just broth.
There you go.
Basically. That's it.
That's fine.
On white rice.
There you go.
Anyway, so that's what it is. But what I was saying is the guy who was on the cooking show, I was sort of just getting lost listening to him, and he's saying it was quite a healthy cooking show he was talking about. And he's like, when you think about food as a fuel and you think about what you put in your body is actually how you'll feel, it changes your mind completely on what you're eating. And you go, fuck, you're like, as if I'd eat fast food. Like that is then how I'll actually feel and how my brain and how my body will feel after it versus if I'm eating clean foods, like that's the best thing I can actually do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then for me, you just grow to enjoy it and you don't want to eat outside of that.
Did you, pre getting picked up, did you have a good diet, or was it something that, would you have the occasional?
My mum was always big into nutrition and health. So she always cooked really healthy and I always just loved food.
Lastly, on the habits and lifestyle to get yourself to your best. In terms of, you spoke about ice baths, you spoke about your saunas, we've spoken about your dietetics. What about the mental side, reading? Do you do anything else like the visualization, any other mindset sort of stuff that you do? Or do you think by just having really good, consistent habits that lead you into game day, it sort of ticks that mental box itself?
I think, that for sure. But I still do a little bit of like journaling. So I have a journal that I kind of made up for myself, which is around my football stuff. So you have like your football journals where you have like your weekly review, your plan and everything. But I created one where it has a bit more lifestyle around it as well. And I sort of review my week as a whole. And then at the start of the book, it has like goal setting. So I did that at the start of the season, and I kind of review that every few weeks or something just to see how I'm going. And I've spoken about this before, but I split my goals up into 3 different sections. It's high level goals, medium level goals, and low level goals. Actually that's part of the Grit book. I got that from there. So your high level goals are what you want to achieve long term. Medium goals are what's going to help you get there, and low level goals is what you can do each day to keep you on that path. And that's something I've been really big on this year, and it's really helped me, I think, stick to that process and not go outside of it.
So cool. Hey, as a part of the series as well with Dove, which we've absolutely loved having you on, we want to give full credit to someone or people in your life that have helped you or supported you throughout this season and over the past couple of years. Who would you say has had a big impact and you'd like to give some credit to over the past couple of years? Both maybe in the club and outside the club. Yeah,
in the
whoever,
club.
Yeah.
So in the club in the last couple of years, it's hard to put like for both
One
of these.
person,
It's so hard to pick one. But going back to that leadership piece, Jai Simpson was really big for me the end of last year. He kind of put it on the map that I could maybe potentially be part of the leadership group, and for not just this year but the future of the club. And he's kind of taken me under his wing since I got to the club. He's kind of been like my role model in terms of that training standards, and he's kind of shown me the way in that aspect. And we caught up late last year about leadership, and he, I guess, saw me as a future leader, like I said. And then again, when we came back at the start of like pre-season, when it started to get really serious and leadership was starting to get talking about at the club, and we were going to start voting soon, he pulled me for another chat and just gave me so much confidence, just tell me that what I'm doing, everything I'm doing is right, and the best way to go about it, and be myself. And he just gave me the confidence, I guess, to be that leader that I wanted to be, and he's continued to do that for me. Like Luke McDonald's also been incredible for me as well, as a friend and as a mentor in that leadership space. And they've just been massive, helping me just be myself and grow, and then also let me focus on my footy as well. I couldn't thank them enough in that aspect.
It's cool to have, at your age, and I'm 31 now as well, a lot older than you, but it never gets old having someone believe in you, like at any age. And like when someone sort of like identifies it, sometimes you don't even see it in yourself. And I'm sure you did see it in yourself, but sometimes it just takes that extra kick from someone else, and you go, fuck, if they believe in me,
unlocks it. Yeah. So the fact that he's the captain of the club, he was just the first year as captain, and then he saw that in me and really wanted me. He like really pushed me for it. Which is really selfless of him, and he's one that I've spoken to a lot about goals. He does that as well, and affirmations. So he's someone that I've really spoken to about all that.
It's a really cool lesson, isn't it? Like reflecting on that, because you're on the side of someone believing in you, and I'm sure you've done this to a lot of people too. But like the next element of that is like you can now pass it on to someone else. Yeah. And like I'm talking, anyone can do that, but like we're so we internalize a lot these days. We're our own main character of our own story, and you think the world revolves around you, and that's just nature. Everyone thinks that happens, but to be able to like bring yourself out of it and actually see someone else and go, no, I want to back this person in. Yeah, it's probably the next part that's pretty cool too.
100%. Yeah, I reckon that's the next stage for me, is to really be like a role model for someone else, and really help them develop and give back to what I've kind of learnt, and what like Jai and other people have passed down onto me.
Awesome. What about outside the football club?
Yeah, mum and dad stick out straight away, just what they've done since day one. My dad probably more from the football side of things. He always loved his footy. He always take me to the Hawthorn games. Growing up, used to go in the backyard. He used to drill footies into me non-stop, and he just really developed my passion through him. And the thing that I'm really grateful for my dad is like he showed me the way early on and was a massive role model for me, and then it got to a stage where it kind of became me and I took over, and it became really internalized, and the motivation was from me rather than from him. And then I think he really like let me go when I was like, I think it was 13, 14, and I think that really helped me develop. And I think you see some people like they get a lot of pressure put on them and then it doesn't really come from within, and I think he did it really well and allowing me to kind of develop and grow from there. And then it was me asking him to go to the park, go for a run, speaking to him about my game, getting feedback, and he's always been there to provide feedback, but it wasn't really forced upon me, which I loved. And then my mum, she's been incredible. Just, I think for me being the person I am, that like trying to stay level and not get caught up in everything outside, like the footy media and all of that, is just staying, she's massive on just staying level no matter what happens week to week. It's just how you can just be Harry Sheezel and nothing changes no matter what. So she's really helped me like stay grounded. So yeah, forever grateful for them.
It's incredible insight, mate, and great, insight into your mind and into your maturity of that. Like, I'm sick of sort of saying maturity. That's just who you are. That's how you do it, and it speaks volumes of yourself. But to be able to identify that, like, even talking about your dad, it's something that I'm thinking about myself, and I'm sure a lot of young parents, both mum and dads, are thinking about that if they're listening with their own kids. Like, and then you reflect on your own childhood too, and I see a lot of that, and I'm sure you've seen it in junior sport, of those parents that just, in a nice way, they just fuck it. Like, they just go too far, and they live their own dream out and not in front of their kids. And you never want to have that relationship. It can really go the other way. I've seen that I've probably seen that for more than I have for not. If that makes sense. Like in football, you would have seen so many kids come through where you just want to say to people like, can you just like...
Yeah. Well, I reckon some people think that of my dad. Like, they probably think he was always pushing me, but I think that's not true at all.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Well, only you know that relationship.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was perfect, and so grateful for
that. But as
that.
You said, you drove that.
Yeah.
You
have to. And then you might make it if you're forced, like you push to do all these extra sessions, do all these things. You might get drafted, you might make it, but I think to really have the tools to succeed down the track and have the longevity, I think it needs to come from within. You need that motivation.
Mick was saying that your old man only comes to the games up north. He likes to get tanned, so he doesn't come to any home games. He just comes to ones in Darwin and Gold Coast. Is that true?
No, he doesn't miss a game, but he definitely doesn't miss the Darwin and Gold Coast ones. He loves a suntan. Okay. So yeah, you'll definitely see him there.
Love that, mate. Obviously, a big finish to the year. Some awesome things going to happen to set yourself up personally, but then the team for some really big successful year, hopefully in 2025.
Yeah.
Maybe one question, and not a I don't want to put you on the spot or a clickbait question in terms of North Melbourne, but one would be, if you had a pick of some players in the competition.
Yeah,
I love the off season. Like, it actually gets me that excited.
Yeah,
just thinking about what potentially could happen, and like as you said, you got some unreal players already there. But if you could just pick, they could be anyone. Doesn't have to be out of contract. Can just be any players. Who would you love to bring to your footy club?
Yeah, it's hard because I don't want to think about too much and think like our position needs, what we need as a club. Put me on the spot a bit here. I'd love See, I'm actually like it could go like key forward, like a Charlie Curnow.
Yeah,
like he just someone like that can just get up the ground and do everything.
Let's Larky just do his thing.
It helps to have so much, but then also like a midfielder like a Bont or a Cripps or a Dacos.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
So yeah, choosing between those two, but yeah. I think for hopefully now, like you were saying, hopefully players do realise, I guess, the path that we're on.
Yeah.
And that the stability of the club now and how quick that we're going to progress. Like, I think everyone's seen the signs, but they don't quite know. And hopefully I'm right. I'm not just saying this, but hopefully it is going to come to fruition, and players hopefully see that and want to be a part of it, because the more talent we get in, the better it'll be, and the quicker it'll happen.
I'm sure they will, mate. It's very exciting, and hopefully you just don't want to get in too late. Now's the time to sort of get in. Buy in now. The price might be too high next year. You never know. Yourself, though, personally, this off-season, I know it's a long way away, but have you put any plans in place of what you want to focus on? I know last year you went to the Oregon, you went to the Nike HQ out there. Did you learn much there? Like, was it sick?
That was just awesome to see. Use the facilities over there, like technology in America is next level. The Nike headquarters are insane, as you can imagine.
What was it like? Like, what did you do over there? Like, just get some testing and all that sort of stuff? Or
So we were there for 5 days. There's like, I think it's 75 buildings in this headquarters. It's like, I don't know, crazy amount of like land. They got like 3 football ovals, not AFL football, soccer and NFL. But then they've got like that outdoor. Have you seen that running track with the forest through the middle?
No.
That's like the best thing ever. Yeah, it's actually my lock screen.
Wow.
So yeah, they have the running track. So they have 3 gyms, and it's all for the staff at Nike, and then any athletes that fly in across the world. But there was no one there, so it was just like me, Blake, and George. Just like it was like
Blake
Disneyland.
Drury.
Yeah, George Wardlaw.
George Wardlaw.
It was literally Disneyland for an athlete. Like one day we went to the Nike employee store. We like spent a lot of money and just loaded up. Then the next day, like we're doing a tour through all this and the history, and each building's named after a different Nike athlete and for a different sport.
Who'd they name them after?
So like there's Jordan, there's Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, there's a Ronaldo field. It's just like there's Nadal. I don't know, I won't be able to get them all.
I was thinking Federer would be on there because he went to they took him off.
I think so, yeah.
Fair enough.
And then this LeBron Center is like their technology center where you're not allowed your phone. So we went in there and there's like a 200-meter indoor running track, basketball court, soccer field. And that's where they do all the testing for like their products.
All like new shoes and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
So we did a running session in there. It's like all the technology, like we have it here as well, but it's just next level there.
It's just cool to be where it's like the heartland of it.
And we went into this like recovery. They have the recovery center in there. It's like these ice bars and sleep pods and
you would have been geeking out there.
Mate, it was honestly the best thing ever. So yeah, I'm not doing any trip like that this year. I'm actually going to South Africa.
Awesome.
With the family, which will be awesome. Safari. I've never done that before. So something different to America and training. But
it's not if I can say I've done something cool with that. I've been to South Africa before. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you know where you're going? Are you going like Cape Town?
Cape Town, yeah. And then we're doing safari. Yeah,
a long time ago, I know you would have been a part of the AFL Academy, but prior to it being in, did you go to Europe or the States?
No, I went to Albert Park.
You went to Albert Park. That's a great place too. That is also. Is that because of COVID, or did they cut the budgets for it?
I think a bit of both. Yeah.
I think they started seeing blokes like me that were going through it, and it wasn't really worth the investment anymore. But we were the last group to ever go to South Africa.
Yeah,
and it was like to this day, I don't think I've ever done anything cooler. Like it was the coolest trip. Going through the safaris, we went. You had an incredible tour through some of the townships, and met some of the people in there, which were beautiful. Played against the South African footy team
awesome.
at the cricket oval there, just below the massive mountain, tabletop mountain. And yeah, it was like probably hands down the coolest thing I've ever done. So South Africa it's a pretty good trip.
Yeah, no, I'm so keen. And then just from a football perspective. Just going to focus on getting a bit more powerful, stronger in the gym. But yeah, I'm not overly quick and can't really jump too high. So just trying to work on that power and slowly build.
It's why I've said this a lot, and I don't agree with those terms myself. But you look at someone like Scott Pendlebury, who I know you get referred to a lot and have many of attributes the same as him. And sometimes it plays with the best timing and the best sort of skill level and being able to hold on to that ball with time they're not the quickest because they have the time. They don't have that. I always found like if you have pace, you sometimes panic and use it too much. Versus the players that can just look like they're standing still, which sometimes I watch you and it's like you're not even moving, but it moves around you.
Yeah, so I want to get a little bit quicker and powerful, but I know that there's other traits that I guess help me
for sure
without that. So yeah, I think my mind and my decision making that and the spatial awareness that really helps me. I guess make up for that, but it's always nice to get a bit stronger and a bit faster.
Mate, 100%. Us, Darcy and Sam, myself, we're hitting the Salt Gym at the moment, so we'll be feeling good in 2025, hopefully. Sheees, mate, I honestly can't thank you enough for your time today. You're an absolute star. It's an honour to get you back on Dyl Friends, and mate, I'm hoping that what you believe will happen next year will happen, and I think that as a team perspective, you've had some incredible, individual success, which I'm sure is going to continue for a long time. But I know you're a team man and you want some on-field success too. But besides that, mate, you're just a good person. off the field. And I think any young man out there or woman that's looking to play the game, there's any parents thinking like who could be a role model for my son or daughter, I would look no further than yourself. So congratulations. And Max has got his new favourite player. That's my son.
Yeah?
So I have to get him number 3, North Melbourne jersey.
Nah, thanks, Dyl. Really appreciate it.
You're a
Thanks for
star,
having me
mate.
back.
Thank you very much.